All right, so we're recording. So my idea tonight is I'm going to do one program just as kind of a final review on lists. It's a parallel list. It's not hard at all. We'll get through that. The next chapter, I don't know why um, they held off until I would have put this chapter like in the beginning of the book because it's on strings. Okay. And basically, we already do some of this stuff. Um, we can grab characters out of the string and do stuff like that. What did I do? Hit the.
I found part of it rather interesting too because what is it? For that one part we did for the file system for if
Yeah,
like .text was not in it, you could do that and add text to it if it doesn't find it in the string entered.
right. So, and it's again, so it has concatenation, it has length. How long is it? How long is something? So that's an easy thing. Then it has string slicing, which again, in the real world, I don't use this very much, but like if you got somebody's full name and you wanted to reverse what it, like let's say, they entered as Douglas Peterson, but your system is based on Peterson, comma Douglas. That this would give you the tools to do that. Okay. And then we have the is digit, is alpha, is lower, is upper. And to convert it to those, you should be doing that in your loops. If you're using like a Y to continue running your program, you should put upper after it, dot upper, and assign it again. That way they can type in a lowercase y, uppercase Y. Again, it has to do with user friendliness for the most part. But there are also, besides upper and lower, there are tests like, is it, they have like is al num or alpha n num is, or in Java, it's called letter or digit. Here it's called is al num. And that just checks to make sure that everything that was put in was either an alphabetic letter or a number. So you can't have any punctuations and things like that. Okay. Uh-oh, I just said admit all. I don't know who's in there. Hope it's somebody we know. I'm trying to figure this thing out as far as the waiting room goes. Um, but it also has where you can just say, okay, are all the letters alphabetical? Or the better one is digit. So like if you're inputting something that isn't a number but is all numeric, like an ISBN number, okay, a credit card number, they have to be digits, but they're not used in math. So you probably should bring them in as strings and then check them that they're all digits, but they're not numbers per se. Okay, they're numerals but not numbers. Can't believe I drank that whole thing of coffee already. Um, yeah. Uh, of course, and it also this what has where they finally describe what strip is, removing characters out, or you can remove the last letter. You can remove any spaces that are included, um, that kind of thing. So that's in this chapter. But this chapter is all of, I don't know, just a few pages long. One of the funniest characters is the repetition operator. So you can do, it's like doing almost like doing multiplication. So you put in a character, and then if you put in an asterisk and a number, it'll print it that many times. Okay, so you can put in a W times 5, and it prints out 5 W's. You can type in the word hello and times 5, and it prints hello 5 times right next to each other. What else is there? There's something called split. Um, Basically, it takes like a sentence, and then wherever there's a space, it'll put in a comma and split it into, instead of being one big string, it'll be four, or however many words are in there. Every time there's a space, it puts that into a separate character. Okay. So that would be useful if you had a text file and you wanted to get all the words in the text file separated out, or get a word count based on spaces. You could do that probably. And you can also split a date. And that's it. I mean, that's the whole chapter. So it's very short. So, you know, that's basically my lecture. Woo, read it. Again, it isn't. Uh, I believe it should have been introduced like in the second week or third week, and I probably should have, partially. But why would you wait this long to introduce that stuff? I really don't know. Anyway, uh, hoping everything else is going good. This is lesson 10. We're moving after this week. You know, it's going pretty fast. Um, if um, you plan on taking summer school, it's out there. You need to reserve what you need, okay? I know I can tell you I'm teaching a Java 1 this summer in 8 weeks. I have a couple computer science 120s. One is a 4 week, one is an 8 week. So if you've never taken that, that's a possibility. You can knock it out in 4 weeks. I will say it's a little rough. You'd have a new lesson every 2 days, and that's even on the weekends, because we have to get 15 lessons done in 30 days. But if you have, most people have done some of that stuff. The hardest part of that class is access, which is the database. And the other problem there is if you got a Mac computer, they don't make access for the Mac. Everything else, they have Excel, they have Word, and they have PowerPoint in Microsoft Office for the Mac, but they just don't make access for the Mac. So if you wanted to take that class, you'd have to find some way to have a PC computer that you could do the access part of the class on. So I've got the Java 1, CS1. There is a CM Web class this summer. So if you want to learn basic HTML or that kind of stuff, that one's a possibility for, again, depending on what kind of credit. I don't know if that one's a transfer or not. But if you're staying at ICC and getting like a programming degree or that, it counts as an elective. So, and it's good to know. Again, it's just another tool in your toolbox. When people ask you, well, what do you know on your job resume or whatever? Hey, I know this programming language. I know a little bit of HTML and CSS and things like that. Or the other, I think is a great time, knock out a couple gen eds. Everybody always holds off on the gen eds. I'd knock those out, get them out of the way. And if you pick the right ones, those can either transfer or not transfer, You can use them almost anywhere. So if you need like an English class or a history class or God forbid, a math class, um, you can get rid of those pretty easily. All right, but they're out there. The schedule's out there, so don't procrastinate. It helps us if you guys get registered early. Then we kind of have a number, and we don't have to cancel the class at the last moment on you. That's always terrible, and then you got to scramble to find something else, and you really need that class, and blah blah blah. So much for my sales pitch for ICC. Any questions on you guys' part? My best guess is we're going to probably, I'm thinking maybe 4 more lessons, and then I will have a final project of some type. I mean, some years I've just said, okay, write the best program you can that you think would be commercially viable. So you might want to think about that. What what kind of program would you write if I put no limitations on you? Okay. And said, okay, it's got to be in Python though. I mean, you might create a game. I don't know. Um, or I've had people that have designed cataloging things for their business or for the place they work, um, inventory type stuff are always easy, or not easy, but ones that people have done in the past. So give it a kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If I said that, and we'll talk more about it as we go on here in the next few weeks. I almost, I hate to just say, okay, write a program that does this, or whatever. I mean, I'd like, for you to use your brains and say, hey, now that I know how to program at this level, what could I do with it if you were just turned loose and I let you use anything you wanted to, okay? Not just the stuff in the class, but stuff that you could learn on your own. Uh, Sometimes the problem with it is you'll make the scope too big and you won't be able to finish it in the time frame. In those instances, what I've done in the past is you will basically say, I'm going to get this much of it done and working, and then maybe finish it or not down the road once I leave this class or continue on to another class. So think about that. And if that's something you think you'd like to do, we can, I'll try and facilitate that. Okay, so tonight I said we would do one more list. It's not hard. It's a pretty easy one. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. See if I can get fire up old Thorny here, or Thorny, or whatever. I wonder who came up with that goofy name. To be honest with you. Let's see here. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see it.
Cool. All right, so we need a new file here. And uh, hmm. Excuse me. Oh, what should I save this as? It's already 4/1/2021. Right here in beautiful Peoria, Illinois. Maybe something like that. Oops. All right. Excuse me. And let's go with, start out with just define main here. Might as well. And like I said before, it's not a typing class. I'd like you to assimilate the information of the programs we do in class. That way, you'll get more out of it. So, and this part should be pretty much you should have this pretty much down. I mean, I try to do things the same way all the time. That might sound boring, but once you establish a pattern that works, um, I don't know if I actually even like keep going, but it works. I sometimes use again, and that's up to you. And so we got keep going as that, and then again, this is just going to make it. So I can take either or, and I can save that as, what did I call it? I forgot what I called it again. Acme Monsters. And I'll save it to my desktop. All right. And let's see if it in fact will do what we say. Oops. Going is assigned Y. Oh, I don't think it likes that I don't have anything in here. That's kind of silly. Or do I got something goofy here? Oh, that wasn't it. That was it. Nope. Now I'm getting a indentation.
I think the last two things need to be indented.
Hang on. Oh, because they're in my Y. You're right. Do, 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 do. It's the one thing I don't like about I'd love to just put, like Java, put some semicolons in there to just. There we go. So if I hit Y, it does that. Those are small letter Y's, capital letter Y, G, boom, exits. So that works. So once we have that, okay, so that's one thing that we know works. All right. All right. So we got that part. Man, I gotta. So I'm going to create another file now. And this one, let's go back here and copy this stuff up here so I don't have to retype it. And this one is going to be called Monsters. And I'm going to save this as just monsters. Oh, give me a break. And so we have something called define. About just add. And then we can call it, it's called monsters. Let's just make it uh, creepy. And then we just start our list. And you can put whatever you want in here. I'm going to use vampires. I'm going to have 10 of them. Ghosts, zombies, uh, werewolves, wolves. I don't know if wolves are creepy enough, but bats. Bats are actually helpful. They eat mosquito. Their weight in mosquitoes, supposedly. When I talked game design, I had to outlaw the use of zombies. Um, every paper I ever got in that class before I did so had something about zombies in it. So make sure you got all your punctuation correct. So it's basically just a simple list. And go back here. Okay, and so up above my define main, I have to import my monsters. I think that'll work. And now I'm going to check here. How about my friends? It's going to be monster. Or no, it's called, what did I call it? Yeah, monster. Add. That should work. And then print. Let's see if this will work. Friends. It'll print them out. It won't be pretty, but it'll look, if it works, it'll prove that it'll work. Okay, so there they are. That's what we need. Okay. And if we wanted it to look prettier, of course, we could just say, um, and so then I would get a nice list like that. And we're going to use that actually. Let's try. I want to make sure my Y still works, and it does. All right. Apologize. Jeez. I just got a large cup of coffee at um, Dunkin' Donuts about an hour ago and it's all gone already. Okay, so this works. So I'm just going to run this out for now because all I need it for really is testing. So you can either leave it in or get rid of it. Now I'm going to get another file and I'm going to call this one, oh, I don't know, monster ID or something like that. Let's see here. Let's do this one like this. Like so. What did I make the other one say? Monsters. A method. Okay. It's not really a method, it's a list. But, well, I guess that is a method. It's putting them in there. That'll work. Okay. So now it's nothing more than something like this. Whoops. Define add ID. And these are just going to be the IDs that we make up. And for no other reason, you can make them whatever you want, actually. I'm just going to make them like this. Whoops. And you could have made these tuples too. I mean, it wouldn't have made any or tuples, whatever you want to pronounce it, just by putting parentheses around them. Uh, Basically, do the same thing. If they're not going to change, you could. It'd be as easy as that. So I am going to call this monster ID. So now I need to save it. I think that's what I made it. Oops, I need an S in there. Monsters ID. Okay, and then we'll return the IDs. Save that. All right, so we got my friends. So now let's get our ID list or something like that. So I'm going to say ID list will be assigned monster and something like that, right? And let's print those out once just to make sure they're there. Oh, I knew I did something. Oh, I think it was add ID, wasn't it? So if you go back up here, it's add ID. Add ID. What did I do?
You need to import Monster
Oh,
ID.
thanks. Sheesh. Sure you save. Run it. And there they are. So that's good. Okay, so then we'll run that out too. Don't need it, except for testing. All right. So now I want to print out a menu for the users to, so I'm going to say 4, count in range. And I just happened, and now I want to start at 0. Yeah. And I have 10 of them. I go by ones. And then I want to print the count. And then my friends. Let's see how pretty that is, if it is. That's what I want to see. And again, if you didn't want to start with 0, you don't have to. You could have skipped one, or, had 11 things in your, make the first one NA or something. Don't really matter at this point anyway. But it should run and print out like a menu here. Okay. All right. I'm going to declare a variable called choice and initialize it to a -1. And then I'm going to put in a try, because the person's going to put in their choice here. And if they don't put in a number, that would be bad. That looks good. Okay, so we got that. So that's okay. Okay. And then let's put in our accept. Oops. Why did it drop down there? There we go. So this should say accept. And I'm going to make it value error. And then print. Something like that. Let's test that. See if it works real quick. Oops. Oh, I'm missing a closing. There we go. If I type in the letter A, comes up with, it doesn't crash. Hit a Y, then hit a 10. That's cool. Okay. But I also have not limited it to only the numbers 0 through 9. So in my try loop here, or my try here, once I get the number from them, I need an if statement. And so I'm just going to say if choice is less than 0 or choice is greater than 9, right? Then print basically the same thing as down below. Only the digits 0 to 9 are valid currently. And else print. Okay, what do I want to print? I'm going to print ID number dot and then comma ID list and choice comma is assigned to and then my friends and then choice. I think that'll work. Okay, so now if I save that and run it, and I pick 3, ID 400 is assigned to werewolves. That's right. If I type in 10, it says only the numbers 0 through 9 are valid. If I type a Y, I type the number Q. It says only the numbers 0 through 9 are good. Type in Y, type in 7, and I get goblins, which is 800. See, that's why I said we could adjust those accordingly, but who's to say that these numbers, I mean, again, you have to remember all we did over here in the IDs is make them 100, 200. I could have started at 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, you know, who knows what order, but you could, I mean, again, all this does is assign them. And the thing here is this is a parallel list. We're just picking them off based on choice and the order that they're read in. Okay. So if you've ever studied parallel arrays, this is basically the same thing. So throw that one in your portfolio, save it into, zip it into a folder, and if you would, and then put it in your portfolio. Okay. What's that other one I was going to do? I got another one here somewhere. Let's see. Okay, this is going to be one, and this is fairly simple. What I'm going to do is help you with the code real quick, kind of go over what it does. And then I will leave it to you as part of your homework to create a menu and decide where you're going to put your methods and things like that to do it. Okay? Because it's not very hard. It's number 2 in the chapter on strings. So it really isn't a big problem. Okay. Okay, so moving on. We'll do this. And this one, let's call it project is my Acme. Oh, let's see. Digit summer. Digit sum program. I don't know. And we'll call this digit sum or something. Pi. And then the date, of course, is 4/1/2021. Author is you. I'm going to add this to it. So this will be something you need to do. Let's call it, what's a million? 9 characters or 10? 9,006 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Right? 3, that's a million. So up to 999,000. Or 6 digits. A user. And then adds the digits together to get their sum. So in reality, we're not treating it as a big number. We're treating it as 6 individual characters. Okay, 6 individual characters. And let's do here. Define the main. Remember the main. Do you guys know what that even means? Nobody?
Nope.
No history buffs.
What did you say?
Remember the main.
Is that a reference to the Alamo?
Is it a boat?
No, it's a boat. It was
I'm not familiar past
yeah,
that. I
something
know
about
it's a boat.
Cuba. I don't know. They blew it up though. Remember it. It was back in like, is it the Spanish American? No, not that old. I don't know. Something off.
Yeah, it was like the late 1890s.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Let's do this. So first thing we need to do is go ahead and, like I said, you're going to put the menu in that. I'm just going to help you here with, let's just call it number. Or here, this is better. STR number, for string number, be equal to our input. And just enter a sequence of digits between 1 and 6 characters long. All right. So now we get that. And then, so we could call that let's try this instead. Let's go set number. That'll work. And so then so that would be, when I teach this, a lot of times I try to have a minimum of, you have your inputs. Okay, so we have an input, or input. And it could be more, so here. So here, stop it. Okay, so then we're going to just say return. Oops, I forgot string. It can be anything. There we go. Then what I'd like to do is, and again, I'm not going to program this part for you, and then make this maybe where you validate, or should we do that in here? I'll just put it in here and then you can. So you just need to validate that whatever they put in is all numbers so it doesn't crash, okay? Then we'll return it back up here. And then we'll make something called total will be equal to uh, something to that effect, but we'll have to send down string number, I think. I need, okay, let's try this. So then we're going to have define some digits and then just string here. We can just call it whatever we want, really. I don't like that name. We'll know it's a string. All right. So then what can we do? Let's make our total. I'm going to call it sum down here. Is equal to, uh-oh, sum is a reserved word. Okay, so it's going to be total. And then so we're going to pick off the blah, blah, blah. I think we'll call this, yeah, we can call it number. Won't hurt anything. Okay, and then for index in range, again, don't use single letter length of num. That'll work. We need to grab off the, I like this here, we got int and then just num, and then this will be index. It's a pretty easy conversion. And then we can take total and plus equals number. That should work. And then when that's all done, we just return it. Total. So the program isn't that hard.
Yeah,
So,
that's way easier than Java.
yeah, you
to do
think?
the same thing.
I know. So I think it'll run even. Oops.
In Java, you have to like learn recursion in order to do it.
Okay, so what did I say I was going to call this thing? Digit sum. All right, blah, 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 blah. So that calls that calls that. That goes there. And then I need to come back up here and print something pretty. And again, you can format this however you want, using see if I missed anything. I always miss something though. Okay, so I'm gonna just do something easy. Hey, what do you know? Hang on a second. Oh, oh crap. Sorry about that. Somebody try and they don't usually call. I need to take it if it. So that works. Let's run it again. Okay. So here's your problem. If they don't type in a number, you got that. So that's one thing I would want you to fix, okay? As part of it. So that's the validate your input here before returning it to come back up here. So, oh, I was going to change this a little bit. Let's go. So I had my input here. Then this would be called our process. And then in reality, I would take this and just do this would be string number in total. So then we'd come down here. Get rid of some of that. And put our define display results. And then yeah, I can't use that. And then I can just put num and tote here. So then this would be my, for my IPO, this would be my output. Okay, so we got that. So input, process, output. So we get input, which is data from a user. We process it into information for people. That ain't good. Oh, it's tote. Stop. Might have been another error too. I didn't see. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. Okay, I'm missing a space right there after entering the blah, blah, right here. I'm missing a space because I don't want the number jammed right up next to it. And you could clean this up a little bit, maybe have a heading up here. So up here when you're starting the program, you could have a menu or where is it going to be? Define main. So right here. Again, so that they know, because people wouldn't know, you know, you run this. Why am I doing this? Is it an ISBN number? Is it a password? Is it, you know, a driver's license? I don't know. So we want them to, again, user friendliness, right? Okay. All right. So this is the one you're going to clean up. And then you've got one other one, I think, in there, if I'm not mistaken. Most common character. Okay. So like this one, similar to this one, But in the next one, the user will type in a sentence or whatever, and then your program goes through and counts how many times a letter occurs in the sentence. And you can limit them to, I don't know, 40 characters or something, no more. You don't have to be a paragraph or something like that. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be good. And again, read over that chapter because there's some useful methods in it, and it isn't that long. Okay. And like I said before, I think we should have learned some of this stuff a long time ago, and we have. We've already done some of them. So, especially like if you're ever going to compare, if you have to compare names or something like that, where you have to turn them into, you can't basically compare a lowercase letter to an uppercase letter because they have different ASCII values. So we need to be careful about that. Passwords also would have that problem. Any questions? Nothing, nada. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing then. Stop recording.